Let's see. It's running 110. Still using iPhone 7. We're supposed to just 20 minutes. Okay, we are going to continue where we left off. Um, Motor vehicle violation, unsafe driving. A conviction for unsafe driving that endangers a person or property requires payment of a fine of not less than $50 or more than $150 for a first offense, not less than $100 or more than $250 for a second offense, and not less than 200 or more than 500 to a third or subsequent offense. Okay, motorist will be assessed for motor vehicle penalty points if the third of subsequent offense occurs within 5 years of the prior offense. There is also a 250 court surcharge for each offense. Okay, hopefully this is working and you're able to read it. Reckless driving. Driving recklessly in a manner that willfully endangers the right property or safety of others is punishable by imprisonment of up 60 days or by fine or not less than $50 or more than 200 or both for the first offense. Also, abandoning a vehicle, motorists who abandon their motor vehicles or a long limited access highway for hours or more without permission are subject to a fine or not less than 100 or more than 500 and possible loss of driving privileges for up to 2 years. For subsequent violation, the fine is not less than $500 no more than 1,000, and the suspension is up to 5 years. Okay, the same penalties apply when owners abandon their vehicles or any highway or public property on a private property without consent for 48 hours or more. Properties on a private property. When owner abandon their vehicle for any period without current license plates. Carrying alcoholic beverages. Motorists who carries open or unsealed alcoholic beverages containers or unsealed cannabis terms a passenger areas of motor vehicles are subject to a fine of $200 for a first offense and 250 a days of community service for all subsequent offenses. Ice and snow. Motorists of private vehicles face fines of 200 to 1,000 for each time ice flies from their vehicles and causes death, injury, or property damage. Fines for commercial owners and operators range from 500 to 1,500. Also, motorists who do not remove snow or ice from a vehicle before driving are subject to a fine or $25 to 25 regardless of whether any snow or ice is splashed from the vehicle. Highway construction zones, speeding or other moving violation in areas undergoing highway construction mean double fines. Some offenses include reckless driving, careless driving, speeding, improper passing, tailgating, improper turns, failure to observe traffic lanes, failure to observe the traffic signals or signs, and failure to obey directions of officer. 65 miles per hour zone, speeding 10 miles per hour or more above the posted speed limit, or other searching moving violation in 65 miles per hour. The speed zone means double fines. Some offenses include racing in a public highway, refusal to failure to comply with rules for passing another vehicle, failure to obey road markings, failure to observe distance between vehicles and careless driving. Failure to comply, motorists face a $50 fine if they fail to comply with a police officer request to illuminate the driver's compartment of the vehicle when stopped. Insurance fraud. Motorists convicted of fraud on insurance applicants and claims form may receive fines up to $5,000 or imprisonment for up to forms 3 years or both in the event the motorist fraudulently receives or imprisonment for not more than 6 months as a disorderly person. In addition, a person convicted of an automobile insurance crime will lose his or her driver license for 1 year. Hit and run. A hit and run involving bodily injury or death may result in a fine $2,500 to $5,000 and or 180 days in jail for the motorist. In addition, for a first offense, the motorist loses his or her license for 1 year for a subsequent offense. The motorist permanently loses his or her license not approaching and passing vulnerable road users with due cautions. Drivers who do not approach and pass vulnerable road users with due cautions would result in bodily injury, and the fine shall be fined $500 and assessed to motor vehicle penalty points. If not bodily injury results, the violator shall be fined $100 and shall not be assessed any penalty points. Line of application. Line when applying for license or registration will result in a fine or not less than $200 or more than 500 and or up to 6 months imprisonment. A motorist will also lose his or her driver license or registration privileges for 6 months to 2 years. Driving while suspended. Driving while a driver license and a registration is suspended can result in the following penalties. First offense, fine of 500 and up to 6 months additional license and or registration suspension. Second offense, fine of $750 jail sentence for not more than 5 days and up to 6 months additional license and or registration suspension. Third offense, fine of 1,000 in 10 days jail sentence and up to 6 months additional license and or registration suspension. Additional penalties for driving while suspended. Driving while license and registration is suspended for failure to properly insure a vehicle will result in a fine of $500 in additional driver license suspension, 1 or 2 years, and possible court order imprisonment for up to 90 days. Driving while license and registration is suspended and having a crash that causes injury to another person will result in a fine, continued suspension, and the potential for a minimum 45-day jail sentence. Driving while license and registration is suspended for a drug or alcohol offense, refusal to take a breath test, or the motorist is an habitual offender will result in a fine of $500 in additional license suspension of 1 to 2 years and possible court order imprisonment to 10 days. Driving while a driving privilege is suspended due to driving while under the influence, refusal to submit to a chemical test, or for a habitual offender offense and driving on school property or within 1,000 feet of school prop, 2 years additional suspension of time, 500 fine, and between 60 to 90 days imprisonment for a first offense. For second, third, and subsequent offenses, the suspension and fines remain the same, but the imprisonment term is increased to 120, 150, and 180 days, respectively. Driving after failing to install the interlock device as ordered by the court results in 1 year suspension. In addition, to any other suspension or revocation already imposed. It may include penalties as a disorderly person in a fourth degree crime to drive while under suspension for a first violation, driving under influence, or NJSA 54 refusal to submit a breath test, and the driver had previously been convicted of driving while suspended while under suspension for the DUI or refusal conviction. It is fourth-degree crime to drive while under suspension for any second or subsequent violation. Other violations allowing person to operate a vehicle while that person's license is suspended, driving while intoxicated, or refusal to submit to a chemical test. A person who owns or leaves a motor vehicle and permits another person to operate their motor vehicle, knowing that the license of the other person he permits to operate the motor vehicle is suspended for revoked for a conviction of driving while intoxicated, or refusal to submit to a chemical test is subject to license and registration suspension of up to 6 months, and is also subject to following penalty: for a first or second offense, a fine of 1,000 imprisonment for not more than 15 days of both, and for the third subsequent offense, a fine $1,000 imprisonment for not more than 15 days of both, and forfeiture of the right to operate a motor vehicle over the highways of his state for a period of 90 days. A person who makes an intentional misstatement of a material fact in application for registration of a motor vehicle or driver license, a person acknowledging sales, loans, or gives and identification documents to another person for purpose or aiding the person to obtain the driver license or registration for which the person is not qualified, should be subject to a fine or not less than $200 or more than 500, and imprisonment for up to 6 months, in addition to revocation of the registration for the motor vehicle, suspension of the person driver's license. A person who has another person take the license examination for them, or person who takes a driver's license examination in the name or the place for another person, has another person take the license examination for them, on a person who takes the driver license examination, the name or the place for another person, is subject to a fine of not less $200 or more 500, an imprisonment for the not less than 30 days or more than 90 days. Failure to pay child support or court ordered health care coverages. If a license owes 6 months or more a child support or court order health care coverage, or if the license fails to respond to subpoena warrants access, the licensed driver's license and professional license are subject to court order suspension. A boater convicted of operating under the influence DUI on New Jersey waterways will be suspended from both boating and all driver's license privileges, and is subject to imprisonment and will be fined $200 $250 to $500 for the first offense, 500 to 1,000 for the second offense, and 1,000 to the third and subsequent offenses. Violators under 17 years of age will have their vehicles and mopped license privileges delayed for 3 months, 6 months, and 2 years for first, second, and third offenses, respectively. Driving under the influence DUI with a minor in the vehicle. A parent or guardian who is convicted to DUI and who, at the time of the violation, has a minor under 18 years old as a passenger in the motor vehicle is guilty of a disorderly person offense. In addition, the person driving privilege is subject to suspension for up to 6 months, and they shall be ordered to perform community service for a period up to 5 days. Driver programs. Driver improvements program, motorists who accumulate between 12 to 14 points in a 24 months period or more will receive a notice scheduled suspension by mail from the MVC. Upon receiving the notice, a motorist can do one of the following: attend New Jersey Driving Driver Improvements Program might not be eligible if points were accumulated with the 24 months period requesting a hearing surrounding his driver's license suspension period. So hopefully, please let me know if this has been very valuable to you. I haven't been checking all the comments, subscribing to our channel, supporting with the likes. Doesn't cost you a penny. Please help us out. We need all your support until we find a job or something to do. We're trying to collect some from the YouTube if it's true that they pay us. Please let us know if this is being a very value to you, so we can keep on improving. Because I've been noticed we get already 30 subscribers and probably 13,000 views. This sounds like it's being a help to you. So hopefully we continue doing this, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you very much for helping us out.